Good evening. This is Primetime News. I'm Sonali Wanigabaduge.
And I'm Shine Rampati.
We start off first with a look at tonight's headlines.
Differing views expressed on President seeking Supreme Court opinion on third term.
උපදේශයක් ඉදු අවස්ථාවේදී ඒ උපදේශ නොදී හිටීමටත් බලය තියෙනවා.
ආටවත් අධිකරණයට මේ ආකාරයෙන් මේ විභාගය පැවැත්විය යුතුයයි බලයක් නෑ.
Two more bodies discovered at the site of the Koslanda tragedy. MP Sunil Handunethi comments on the additional duties of Ports Authority employees.
තිවරණ කාලේ OT පැය 900ක් දීලා නිදහස් කරපු වරායේ අධිකාරියේ සේවකයෝ තාම කැඳවලා නැහැ. ඔබතුමාගෙන් ඉල්ලා ඉන්න පොඩක් හොයලා බලන්න ඊළඟට එන ඡන්දවලිනුත් පස්සේ තමයි මේ අය කැඳවන්නේ.
UN High Commissioner for Human Rights criticizes continuing attacks by the Sri Lankan government on the integrity of the Commission of Inquiry.
අහනවාද දුවනවාද මේ දවස්වල දුව ඉන්නේ මොන පැත්තට දුවනවාද හෙලිකොප්ටර් ගන්න මේ රටේ තහනමක් තියනවාද මට බැංකුවකට ගිහලා ණයක් අරගෙන මට මේ ව්‍යාපාරය කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් ඊයේ කිව්වා සිරසේ වැඩසටහන පාර්ලිමේන්තුව බලන්න එක්කගෙනද සත්තු බලන්න එක්ක සත්තුවත් බලන්න එක්ක යනවා
මේ වරාය මුහුදත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච දෙයක් මිසක මැතිවරණත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච ආයතනයක් බවට පත් කරන්න එපා.
Now on to the news in detail. The Asian Human Rights Commission says that the move by the President, who has requested the Supreme Court's consideration on running for a third term at the upcoming presidential election, is a political trick, and that the court's opinion has been requested in order to give credence to the political scheme.
Issuing a statement, the HRC says that the Supreme Court needs to refuse to submit an opinion in terms of this request, as Article 129(1) of the Constitution cannot be used as a political guise. The HRC adds that the request is legally, logically and linguistically meaningless, and that such a request cannot be honoured by the country's highest court. Furthermore, the HRC points out that the President can refer a question to the Supreme Court only when it has a meaning in terms of law or fact, and when the issue is of public importance. The statement adds that if the Supreme Court declares its opinion, the Elections Commissioner will be bound by this opinion, or it could be made to appear to the public that the Elections Commissioner is bound by such opinions, which means that the Elections Commissioner will be deprived of the right to decide on this issue.
මෙම කාර්ය පිළිබඳව අපිට දැනගන්නට ලැබිලා
From what we know about this matter, His Excellency the President is able to remain in the position for another 2 years. While we see no reason whatsoever for the hasty consultation to be provided, the Supreme Court has the judicial power to call on the Executive President and, as per the constitutional powers, refrain from providing such an opinion when it is requested. Second, if there is a minimal time granted for an opinion to be provided, they have the power to request for more time. Third, they have the ability to receive and provide consultations. It is under this provision that we made our request to tell the President. This is a matter that has an impact on democracy in the country and the people's franchise, and we request that more time be granted and a suitable opportunity be granted for lawyers and other stakeholders to make submissions.
සුදුසු අවස්ථාවක් ලබා දෙන මෙන් තමයි අපි මේ ඉල්ලීම කරන්නේ.
මේ වේදිකාව මෙතනදී මම කිව්වා දැන් මාස දෙකකට ඉස්සෙල්ලා
On this very stage 2 months ago, I said that what the JVP is doing is pointless. It is a joke. Why? A fascist leader is able to grab even the Supreme Court by the neck and keep them under his thumb. Now he has put the question of whether he can contest an election to the Supreme Court. The response has been placed on the back of it.
අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම අතරන් කරයි කට විසාවේ ප්‍රශ්නත් ඉවරයි. ජනමාධ්‍ය තුල විවිධ මත ප්‍රකාශ කරලා තිබ්බා දිනවකවානු පිළිබඳව.
Various views had been expressed in the media regarding the time frame. I cannot challenge that. That is why I told you that following a hearing considered suitable by the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court will decide if written submissions alone are enough. That is the decision of the court. If the court decides that both written and oral submissions are necessary, then it will be so. So neither we as parliamentarians nor the President nor you have the power to direct or give orders to the Supreme Court and say that this is the way in which it should be heard. We give respect to the court and entrust the issue to the court, asking that they fulfill this task in line with the Constitution.
Developing story brought to you by
New Samsung Joy Plus. Much more than a TV.
The search operation at the site of the Miriabad, the Koslanda landslide, entered its 10th day today. Security Forces Commander Central, Major General Mano Pereira, said that another 2 bodies have been discovered at the site of the tragedy.
Those who were once residents of the Miriabad village are now left homeless have joined in search operations in the hope of finding the bodies of families and loved ones. It was once after a statement made by one of the survivors that measures were taken to carry out excavations in close proximity to a road located in the area which once stood the coal and the line houses. It was in this area that the body of her aunt was found today. The survivor stated that she, along with her aunt and relatives, were running for their lives but was able to escape death as she was 10 meters ahead of the rest of the family.
My aunt and the neighbor's 2 children came running behind me. I believed that my aunt had been buried where I almost was buried. We went to that location and we found my aunt's body there. I felt my aunt grabbing onto my legs, but by that time I was also halfway buried.
It was in close proximity to this excavation site that another body was found today as well. The body of the 10-year-old child was identified as the neighbor of a woman whose body was discovered previously. Meanwhile, Selvaraj Sridharan also arrived at the location in hope of being able to discover the remains of his mother. He met with the members of the security forces and showed the area in which his house was stood, requesting them to find his mother. Meanwhile, estate workers of the Imbulpitia estate did not attend to work today and engage in religious observances in memory of those who lost their lives in this tragedy.
The Disaster Management Centre states that more than 9,100 people have been evacuated owing to the risk of landslides.
Residents of 31 estate houses in the Dianagala Hills in Badula have been temporarily relocated to safer grounds owing to the risk of landslides occurring in the area. Our correspondent says that there is a high risk of soil and sediment from the Namanukula Hill falling atop these houses. Thereby, 95 families who are residing in these houses have been evacuated and placed in 2 relief camps. Residents from the Maya Kulama area in Chilau staged a demonstration blocking the Chilau-Colombo main road today, demanding that a solution be provided to incessant flooding experienced in the area. The demonstrators dispersed from the location after officials agreed to hold discussions next Monday. Meanwhile, heavy mist was experienced in several locations across the island due to the inclement weather condition. Parts of Hambantota, Ambalantota and Tangol were cloaked in mist. Meanwhile, a number of areas in the Chilau area were covered in mist from last night until this morning. Newsfirst received a report of a group of displaced persons who have been left homeless owing to the risk of landslides occurring in Leonard Estate, Ragala.
Area residents who live in the upper section of Leonard Estate in Ragala have been temporarily relocated to the reception hall of the Madhavatta Kovil in Ragala. They were evacuated a day after the landslide occurred in Miriabad, the Koslanda. However, they were requested to leave the hall because a function has been scheduled to take place tomorrow. Upon such short notice issued by officials, they have been left with no other option but to return to their homes.
They dropped us home at around 8:30. There was no proper procedure. We do not have anything to feed our children. Either they should give us a home or remove us from dangerous areas and let us build our homes.
The Aurelia District Secretary DPG Kumarasiri had this to say about the matter.
The NBRO has given us a report with regard to this. This area is not prone to landslide. We are able to send these families back despite the unfavorable weather condition. If a rumor was spread around asking them to leave because of a wedding that was to take place, then that is not good. This is a myth that has been made to create problems within these estates.
And now for the latest from the Supreme House of Legislature.
වාචික පිළිතුරු අපේක්ෂා කරන ප්‍රශ්නාංක 1 නායක මහතා අහනවාද දුවනවාද අහනවා නියුත් කතානායකතුමනි මේ දවස්වල දුව ඉන්නේ මොන පැත්තට දුවනවාද ඒක ප්‍රශ්න ඉතාම වැදගත් කොයි පැත්තකද
The expenditure heads of the Ministries of Highways, Ports and Shipping and Civil Aviation Services were also taken up in Parliament today.
We have commenced the journey to make the country an aviation hub, and we are proud of that. Over the past few years, this has become one of the busiest airports in Asia. Several international flights are coming and going from the Mattala International Airport too.
No matter which ministry it is, I have seen instances where the chairman and executives of certain institutions who have been appointed there because of our government do not heed to the minister. Those sitting in air-conditioned rooms do not understand the sweat and tears of the labourer, the losses that are being incurred and the problems that must be resolved. All of this leads to public displeasure. Why is that fish is being imported from the Calville Corporation? Why is chicken being imported? Who is preventing the purchase of fish, fruits, prawns and vegetables from our own companies?
It has been decided to implement 4,046 road development projects this year. But to date, that is as of the 30th of September 2014, only 1,294 have been completed. It is good that all of this is being done, but look at the costs too. Look into cases where I said 200 million was being spent on what could be built for 40 million.
A personal attack was levelled at me regarding helicopters and my wealth. I am open and I will extend a challenge. I am a person who usually interferes, but today I listened to what you had to say. If you want to take a look at my assets, you can do so at any time. This is not wealth accumulated in the recent past. Listen to me. At the time your father was a prominent minister in the UNP, we have had these assets before then.
If a wolf jumps onto the road and our vehicle turns turtle because of it, then the mistake is ours. The fox will either die or run away. The highway won't accept the mistake. The mistake is ours. We have to pay to repair the vehicle too. Minister, I watched a program on Sirasa yesterday. The gentleman on this program noted that children are being brought to see parliament proceedings at present. They said there is a problem now as to whether the children are to be taken to see parliament or to the zoo.
During the Uva Provincial Council election, certain Ports Authority employees were released from duty and given 900 hours of overtime. They are yet to come back. I ask that you make inquiries to see if they will only be called back after the next election. They are receiving OT allowances and are still in the Uva province. You have sent another 500 all over Sri Lanka targeting the presidential election. It is being said that the employees who went to Uva will only be brought back after the presidential poll. Do not transform the port from an entity connected to the ocean to an entity connected to elections.
The Hambantota port belongs to the people. It does not belong to President Mahinda Rajapaksa or Minister Rohita Abegunawardena. The Mahinda Rajapaksa Hambantota port belongs to the state, and if you prove that it is owned by anyone else, then I, Rohita Abegunawardena, will resign from my position. Prove it or state that you will resign.
Sri Lanka Varaya Adhikariya Sadhu Kaikada? Kauda? China merchant?
Honourable member, when you build a house, do you build it yourself? No, you give it to a contractor. He has confused the Chinese with contractors and turned it to a Chinese mafia. Now, in the latest twist in the ongoing Geneva Gate saga pertaining to the audit report on the controversial contract to refurbish the official residence of the permanent representative in Geneva, a Swiss lawyer says that the document tabled by the Minister of External Affairs in Parliament recently absolving PT Ture Raja of any affiliation with the LTTE does not contain any information on ongoing investigations. Now, speaking to News First, Pierre Benet, a celebrated lawyer in Switzerland, added that the document in question can only be procured by the person named in it, namely PT Ture Raja.
This document looks like a real excerpt of the Swiss criminal record delivered to a citizen upon his own request. However, this document is not to be mistaken with the real excerpt of the Swiss criminal records which are used by the police and Swiss judicial authorities. The main difference between those two documents is that the excerpt given to a citizen upon his own request does not show ongoing criminal proceedings, but only criminal proceedings which have been terminated and in which the citizen has been judged guilty. The full excerpt, which is only given to the judicial authorities and the police, does show ongoing criminal proceedings.
Responding to an email query posed by Newsfirst on the 23rd of October, the Office of the Attorney General of Switzerland noted that the 2011 investigation into the LTTE for alleged money laundering, extortion and participation in a criminal organization is still ongoing. Hence, according to the Swiss lawyer Pierre Benet, the document tabled by Professor G.L. Paris in Parliament would not confirm any information regarding an ongoing investigation. According to Vasanta Samarsinga, North Central Provincial Councillor attached to the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, the revelations made by the Swiss lawyer raises more questions.
It is only he that can obtain the report about him. It is the report obtained by him that Professor G.L. Paris tabled in Parliament. There is a serious connection here. Not only that, when the Swiss Federal Police and the Attorney General's Department say that the investigation is ongoing, for what purpose is he attempting to acquit Ture Raja? Information is only provided for a specific time frame. So if the individual in question provides his identification, they will provide the record. If the Ministry of External Affairs intervene to obtain this record, then we have demanded and continue to demand that Minister G.L. Paris furnish the letter sent to the Swiss Federal Police by the Ministry. Recently, External Affairs Minister G.L. Paris said in Parliament that Ture Raja has no affiliation with the LTTE. He whitewashed Ture Raja. We saw in the recent past that the Swiss Federal Police and the Attorney General's office said very clearly that the investigation into the 10 people arrested in 2011 is ongoing. The investigation is not complete. So, the statement made by Minister G.L. Paris in Parliament regarding the incomplete investigation is very serious. He produced that document on that day and said that Ture Raja has no criminal record. Obviously, there cannot be a criminal record when the investigation is ongoing. Only Ture Raja is able to obtain this document in Switzerland. How did G.L. Paris come by it? How did Minister G.L. Paris produce this document in Parliament? If he cannot prove the statements that he is making, then he must immediately resign.
The story must travel no matter where it goes or who it hurts. Those were the words of wisdom imparted by veteran Indian journalist and national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, M.J. Akbar, at a seminar held in Colombo this morning.
Many people, joke or indeed say that one of the great intentions of government is to brainwash journalists. That possibly might be true, but those people forget that you can only be brainwashed if you have a brain. Most professions don't have a brain, so they can't be washed. And if we have a brain, then we will have views. Nobody is supremely objective. That is an impossible state in human affairs. But to have views is one thing, but to be blindfolded is quite another. You may have views, supportive of the government, against the government, it doesn't matter. But the story is something that is above your viewpoint. The story always stands on its own legs, it stands on its own merits, and the story must travel no matter where it goes and who it hurts.
On to a headline-making story this evening. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Zaid Ra'ad Al Hussein has criticized the continuing attacks by the Sri Lankan government on the integrity of the UN Human Rights Office's ongoing investigation into alleged grave human rights violations and abuses in Sri Lanka, and condemned the intimidation of human rights defenders and individuals who may wish to cooperate with the investigation. In a statement, Prince Zaid Ra'ad Al Hussein noted that the continuing campaign of distortion and disinformation about the investigation, as well as the insidious attempts to prevent possible bona fide witnesses from submitting information to the investigating team, is an affront to the United Nations Human Rights Council, which mandated the investigation. He had said that the government of Sri Lanka has refused point blank to cooperate with the investigation, despite being explicitly requested by the UN Human Rights Council to do so. Zaid said, quote, "Such a refusal does not, however, undermine the integrity of an investigation set up by the Council. Instead, it raises concerns about the integrity of the government in question," unquote. He added that why would governments with nothing to hide go to such extraordinary lengths to sabotage an impartial international investigation? The High Commissioner noted that, quote, "A wall of fear has been created that has undoubtedly served to deter people from submitting evidence," unquote.
You're with News First. The 47th commemoration of the late D.A. Rajapaksa was held in Tangol today. The ceremony was held under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
A number of programs were organized in line with the 47th commemoration of late D.A. Rajapaksa. President Mahinda Rajapaksa, accompanied by his family and relatives, paid floral tributes to the statue of D.A. Rajapaksa at the Tangol town centre. The chairman of the southern province and the mayor of Tangol placed the symbolic red shawl along with a garland of flowers around the neck of the statue. A special sermon was held subsequent to religious observances. The 47th commemoration ceremony was held in line with the presentation of the Sisura Scholarship in the Tangol Urban Council Hall. 200 children from low-income earning families in the Hambantota district were presented scholarships from the D.A. Rajapaksa Foundation. The commemoration ceremony speech was delivered by the head of the Lalita Arts Faculty of the Kalani University, Professor Patrick Ratnayaka. Alms were given to 900 monks at the Madamulana House this afternoon. A special Pirit ceremony was held at the Madamulana House since last night to commemorate D.A. Rajapaksa and Dandina Samarasinghe. The ceremony was held under the auspices of the chief incumbent of the Sri Pada, Venerable Bengamuwe Dhammadinna Thera.
And up next is Action TV.
For the second time yesterday, Action TV placed before the country the astonishing response given by a local government official towards the threat of rock slides which has befallen these 20 families of the Hathale estate in the Panvila Administrative Division in Kandy.
I have received reports of the warning. We have the reports of previous rock slides which took place a few years ago as well. We have no legal right to take measures as a government body because these are a group of employees of a privately owned land. So we have no legal power to relocate these people or provide houses for them.
Those were the shocking words of the Panvila Divisional Secretary at the time to Action TV on the 19th of March 2011 when she arrived to the area for an inspection. It has been 6 years now since the National Building Research Organization issued a warning for this area, which is home to this estate community, which has brought a reputation for the country internationally in the tea trade and has even vastly contributed to the economy of the country for generations. While the hearts of these people skip a beat every single time it rains, the administration of the Kandy district, which appears to be functioning regardless of the lives of these people, has handed over a 25-acre plot of land in Tungapattu at Deltota, owned by the state, to a privately owned company in an illegal fashion for the sake of their personal benefit. This is for the operation of a quarry. This area has been identified as a water catchment area by the authorities and that it should be preserved. Not far from where this quarry is functioning exists a lake. Although the Deltota Divisional Secretary divided this plot of land amongst the Sinhala and Tamil homeless estate workers through a land kacheri in 2005, to date a considerable portion of this land is functioning as a quarry. Those who possess the deeds to live here have left these lands claiming that they value their lives more than the land. The fact that local government officials are passing the ball to a private entity over the threat faced by these 20 families in the Hatale estate and the creation of a threat through this quarry in a state-owned land with the permission of the coordinating secretary of a minister questions if the administration of the Kandy district has no regard whatsoever for the lives of the underprivileged. Chairman of the Kandy District Development Coordination Committee, this one is over to you.
The day-to-day lives of fishermen in Negombo returned to normal following the tense situation that arose yesterday between fresh fish sellers and dry fish sellers being brought under control yesterday.
The clash had broken out between a group of fishermen of Kottidua in Negombo and a group of day fishermen on Beach Road, Kudapadua yesterday. It was only after political authorities reached an agreement with the fishermen that the situation was brought under control.
They have come to a decision once again. We will be patient and see what will happen. We do not have a job and neither do they. What more can we say? We will still be starving. No one gives us anything to eat or drink. Dry fish sellers won't lose their jobs that easily. What we are requesting is that they do not allow the sale of both varieties of fish. In Negombo, we catch fish for 6 months and we also supply it to them. In a way, it is fair that we make such demands. If they stop selling linno, then we too have to stop selling linno. If we do this, then there won't be any fights.
Now, it has been revealed that over 2,500 persons have lost employment as 59 ice cream and refrigerated food industries have been imposed an immediate ban in the Jaffna district. Chairman of the South Food and Beverages Production Association of the Jaffna district, M. Udayasiri, said that over 15,000 traders have been directly affected by the ban. He said that the Health Ministry of the Northern Province failed to take swift measures even though the repercussions of the ban were clearly explained.
The authorities who inspected the companies are repeatedly refusing to grant permission despite granting a solution. It has been revealed that distribution rights for ice cream have been granted to a kingpin. In an attempt to provide a market for that, the authorities have sealed an ice cream company that is located in Nagadeep Island that was operating on a 2.5 million investment. After asserting that a case will be filed against this company in question and shutting the company down, they had advised him to sell if they please. The commission on a packet of ice cream is only 2 rupees and 50 cents. As we operate with the use of an engine, will that be sufficient to pay off the bills? One could only hope to stop operations of small-scale companies if they intend for just one blue-chip company to exist. That ideology is the same anywhere in the world. In order for justice to be meted out, one could establish a commission through the Chief Minister of the province and put forward their grievances.
Two buffaloes died when power cables fell on a paddy field in Pannegamadeniaya. The cables supplied electricity to 2 houses in that area.
These cows died when the power cables touched the ground. These farmers were saved after they witnessed the incident. Area residents stated that even though they notified the Deniaya office of the CEB, no measures have been taken to address the issue. The electricity leak in the area has claimed many lives on previous occasions.
The Department of Census and Statistics reveals that 93% of the country's industries operate as small-scale industries with less than 5 employees. The department further noted that the only 7% of industries function with more than 5 employees. A media briefing was held in Colombo today on the outcome of the results of the first phase of the 2013-2014 economic census and the future course of action. It was revealed at this media briefing that economically active industries had been categorized as trade and services. 1,014,416 industries have been listed as economically active.
A seminar on the 21st century maritime Silk Route was held at the Lakshman Kadiragama Institute for International Relations and Strategic Studies in Colombo today.
The seminar is hosted with the aim of creating awareness among sectors of the society and economy on the extent and intensity of the opportunity that can be fostered through the connection of the maritime Silk Road opens doors to and discuss its impact on development in South Asia. Several dignitaries, including the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Ajit Niwad Cabral, and Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Sri Lanka, His Excellency Wu Jinghao, were among those present at today's seminar.
The 21st century MSR concept will definitely supplement Sri Lanka's concept of development of the country's maritime hub. Projects which were not with a 10-year horizon but with a century horizon were initiated. Not only will the interest be for Sri Lanka to develop Sri Lanka as a mega port in the Silk Route, but all the other countries as well. The Colombo port as well as the Hambantota port will provide immense opportunities for many people, for many companies, for many countries to take advantage of these locations in order to do business for the future. So what we're doing today is to make use of the opportunity, create a new port city, which will be probably a sleepless city where there will be continuous operations to support the maritime Silk Route. And we believe that Sri Lanka has a tremendous opportunity now, and we should, as stakeholders, take our own parts and develop those, because together we can make use of this concept and translate it into economic activity that will greatly facilitate the prosperity that we are seeking for our country.
The country needs a strong, honest and active leader, balanced by a strong opposition, led by an honest opposition leader. Sri Lanka's post-independence history shows a chain of strong leaders, starting from D.S. Senanayake to Dudley Senanayake, Sir John Kotalawala, J.R. Jayawardena, R. Premadasa, and now Mahinda Rajapaksa. History will again record that the weakest links as leaders were D.B. Wijetunga and the much-failed Ranil Wickremesinghe. Although the party won at the 2001 general election, he could not hold the position for 5 years, failing in 2 years' time. Failed because although the party under his leadership has registered defeat after defeat, he has surreptitiously taken control of the party and has become the self-appointed permanent leader, because he is continuously returned to the position by the working committee comprising of his appointees. He has the privilege of living more than comfortably with a budgetary allocation that today exceeds over 78 million rupees per annum, with an official residence and now a newly built office, etc. Plus, frequent overseas travel, while staying and dining in the best of hotels, accompanied by those he chooses to take with him entirely at state expense, money given by the taxpayers. A person who has a stranglehold on the opposition due to the small-mindedness of the manipulated working committee, who too are a disgrace to their office and the UNP. Can such a leader be trusted? Can he actually win an election? Is it worthwhile nominating him as a presidential candidate when he has demonstrated himself a dictator within the party, changing the constitution and staying as leader forever? What if he is elected president? Haven't the deputy leader and chairman of the leadership council, who are as disgraceful as the working committee, become akin to toothless wolves?
Moving on to other local news, a youth was arrested for the murder of his girlfriend, while in another incident, a body was found under a bridge in Borapana. Crime Watch has the details.
A 21-year-old youth has been arrested for the murder of an 18-year-old girl, a resident of Valikanna, Hangwella. The suspect had apparently lodged a complaint with the police that the 18-year-old girl, his girlfriend, had hung herself. However, investigations revealed that she had been clubbed to death with an iron pole. The suspect was produced before the Avisavala magistrate subsequent to his arrest. A male corpse was found under the Borupana bridge this morning. The police media unit said that a car was found close to the crime scene. The corpse has been identified as that of a 35-year-old resident of Burlas Gamua. While the Mount Lavinia Additional Magistrate inspected the area and the Mount Lavinia Police has launched investigations into the incident.
On to sports news now. Captain of the Sri Lanka national blind cricket team, Chandana Suryarachi, says that they do not have a proper ground to train for the Blind Cricket World Cup. The Sri Lankan squad is to leave the island on the 23rd of this month for the Blind Cricket World Cup, which is scheduled to commence in South Africa next month. Sri Lanka emerged second runners-up in the Blind Cricket World Cup staged in India in 2012. This time around, Sri Lanka Cricket has allocated the Radella ground in Nuwara for the team to train. However, skipper Chandana Suryarachi says that it is impossible to train on that ground due to the prevailing rainy weather conditions being experienced in Nuwara. When Sports First contacted the CEO of Sri Lanka Cricket, Ashley De Silva, to inquire into this issue, he said that Sri Lanka Cricket Association of the Visually Handicapped has not notified the SLC on this matter. Ashley De Silva added that if a request is made, arrangements could be made to provide a ground in the vicinity of Colombo.
On to other sports news, Olympic medalist Susantika Jayasinghe says that the Sports First Mobitel Platinum Awards has given Sri Lankan athletics a new beginning. She expressed these views at the first round of the inspection of applications. The Sports First Mobitel Platinum Awards night will be held at Stein Studios Ratmalana on the 30th of this month.
Sometimes it does not matter what skills an athlete has. If he or she is not appreciated, then there is a tendency for them to lose interest. That is why I believe that by gathering support from police and tri-forces, Sri Lankan athletes have been given a new beginning. I'm very happy about this.
Across the world this week, headlines were dominated by the Burkina Faso turmoil, US Senate midterm elections and the Ebola outbreak.
We leave you tonight with a look at how these moments were captured on the lenses of photographers.
I am Shahin Jirampati.
And I'm Sonali Vanigabadage. Good night.